But they don't care anything. I mean, they never see, these aren't people who are engaged in a consumer economy, so they're not going to see things that require stamps for stamp taxes.
They're probably. The backcountry folks do complain when they have to go to Charleston to deal with a legal matter because that's the only place you could do it. There weren't courts throughout the rest of until 1770s. So they would have had to deal with a deed, stamp, or what have you, which we still have in South Carolina. But for the most part, you're right. The Stamp Act, that didn't affect them. They had a grant. They may or may not have registered it. If it was registered before 1765, they wouldn't have been worried about it. And of course, once the Stamp Act was repealed, they didn't have to worry about it then. But that was not what they were concerned with. Those folks in Charleston were very concerned.
Sure. I can always think about it in this way. You can get to the Townsend duties, which are run on paint, paper, lead, tea, and glass. Well, the only thing anybody in the backcountry cared about on that list was lead for bullets. They don't have, most of them don't have glass in their windows. Their houses aren't painted. They don't, they aren't writing a whole heck of a lot. And so, they're where the printing press west of Charleston on the eve of the Revolution. Is there one?
No, there is not.
So, I mean, there's no, people aren't printing. All the things that those duties are on, those don't affect the lives of ordinary people in the backcountry.
Well, see, that's where an older historian that you and I grew up with was, Carl Breidenbach.
Right.
And he centered the revolution in the urban centers, and there's a lot to be said for that. Although later on you do have others join in, but I mean, in Charleston, you've got 3 newspapers. The pulpit is important in terms of spreading things. That is the connection with the Atlantic world. So,
I think that's really important for students of the Revolution to grasp, because to reach it back to a historian we didn't grow up with, but our fathers and grandfathers grew up with. You go back to Frederick Jackson Turner. You expect, if you're a Turnerian, for people on the frontier to be the most democratic, the most egalitarian, and therefore one would imagine the most apt to support the American independence movement.
Yeah, and in their own communities they were, but their community was different from the community in Charleston.
Right.